with Potomac Beads. Join me in making this directional bracelet featuring our RounDuos and RounDuo Minis. Remember, if you need any supplies, check out the links below. Also remember that you can comment and share the video if you want to help out and expand the knowledge of the beading community. So to begin creating our triangles for our directional bracelet, we are going to have a button closure. I'm going to be adding this after the fact, so I'm going to shift it off to the side, and I have my RounDuos and my RounDuo Minis. They're both in the Jade Picasso as well as the cup button too. We're going with that theme. I have the 15 OC beads in the Miyuki Duracoat Galvanized Champagne, and then the 11s in the Duracoat Galvanized matte metallic bronze color. So the first thing I'm going to do is onto my size 12 needle, I'm adding an 11 OC bead that's bright gold that is not going to be part of my project. And I do want to leave about 12 inches, 10 to 12 inches after the stop bead. This is because I'm going to put a needle on this end, and after the bracelet starts to get made, I'm going to put the needle on the end and attach the clasp. I'm taking the thread and needle through that stop bead 2 times, and eventually that's again going to come off the project. To begin, we're going to begin with our 3 RounDuo Minis. And to start with those, we're actually going to begin on the outer section of our triangle here. So what I want you to pick up to start is I want you to pick up 2 15s, 1 of your 11, and 2 15 OC beads. You're going to let those drop down next to the stop bead, and then grab 1 of your RounDuo beads. If you're unfamiliar with the RounDuo beads, there are 2 holes, and they are 5 millimeter, and then the RounDuo Minis are going to be 4 millimeter of the same type. After going through the RounDuo, I'm going to go back through, starting at the stop bead, go back through all of those same seed beads and back through the RounDuo as well. So your needle went through 1 time in the same direction, and now you're going through a 2nd time. Give a nice tight pull, and that'll pull those seed beads right on top of the RounDuo to kind of decorate that out. What I'm going to do now is shift from the bottom, or the top hole rather, of the RounDuo to the bottom hole of the RounDuo. It's going to put a little bit of thread on the side here, and I'm not going to worry about that too much. You won't see it as we design and get the project going. From here, I'm going to add a 15, an 11, and a 15, then my next RounDuo. 15, 11, 15, RounDuo. Finishing it up, the same thing, 15, 11, 15, and let that all drop down next to the RounDuo that I already have on the project. From here, you're going to take your thread and needle back through that same RounDuo bead. The thread was coming out the bottom. Now we're going to go into the top of that same bead and circle it up. What this is going to do is form the base of our triangle. From here, I'm going to sew through that first 15, 11, 15, as well as the next RounDuo through that same interior hole. I'm now going to step up from that interior hole to the exterior hole of the second RounDuo bead. From here, we're going to decorate the outer edge just like we did here, adding 2 15s, 1 11, 2 15s, and go back through that RounDuo. So again, we're coming out the bottom and we're going into the top. After coming out the RounDuo, I want you to grab 3 15s, and we're going to sew into the 11 that sits between the RounDuos. So you're going to sew right into the 11 and out. Once you're coming out that 11 OC bead, go ahead and add 3 more of your 15s, and then go through the top hole of the next RounDuo. Now normally you're going to go in and decorate the exterior now with your 15s and your 11s. I'm not going to worry about that because they're already on here. You're going to do 3 more 15s, sew through the 11 that's there. Because we're doing a triangular shape for this directional bracelet, you're always going to be doing things in sets of 3. Again, after completing that, 3 more of your 15s go on, and you're going again to the top or the exterior of that RounDuo. When you're at the top exterior of that RounDuo, again 2 15s, followed by 1 11, and then 2 more 15 OC beads. Go ahead then back through that same RounDuo. Again, I'm coming out the bottom and I'm going into the top. Rounding it out then, you're going to include 3 more 15s, grab the 11-0 between the original hole of the RounDuo, 3 more 11s, go on, and go through that top exterior hole of that RounDuo. That's going to get my first triangle. In order to finish up this triangle, what we're going to do is go around the whole exterior of the triangle, connecting the seed beads together. So I'm going to go through the 15 coming out here, up through the 11s, and then as I go down through the sides, I'm going to go through all of the 11s that I see. Going through all the 11s through, or 15s rather, through the 11 that's already there. And you're just going to go around this whole exterior row. Now I'm using the white thread so you can see it a little bit on the Jade Picasso, but if you do want to use the green wildfire, it would match great. Going through that, I'm going to go through the 11-0 seed bead, then go down through the sides here, through my 15s. When you get to the 11, go right through there. And then as we go in here, you're going to come out near your stop bead, and just a little show and tell right there. I got a little knot, I just needed to pull it out. Go through the beads here. And then same deal as you're going around the exterior edge. Hop up, ignoring that stop bead, kind of bending it to the back, and through the 15s. And then up through as well. We're going to get our thread and needle to exit one of our 11-0 seed beads right in between the set of 2 RounDuo beads. Then we'll go in and we'll get ready to add our smaller section of our triangle in. Now that I have my RounDuos, and I do apologize, I said minis, these are the RounDuos, I'm going to get ready to add 3 of my mini duos, and that's what's going to form the bigger and the smaller triangles. You could also do this with a round trio and make a Christmas tree too, in case you wanted to go bigger and bigger. It's an idea for the future. So coming in here, I'm out my 11-0 seed bead, like I had said, opposite of where that stop bead is, having gone around the exterior edge, catching all of my exterior 15s as well as the 11. And coming out here, we're going to start that same triangle pattern over, but this time it's going to be with the RounDuo Minis. I'm going to add 2 15-0 seed beads on, and then sew through one of my RounDuo Minis. Again, the Minis are a 4mm, the regular RounDuos are a 5. I'm going to add 2 more of my 15s, and then I'm going to sew back through that 11-0 that we're sharing between the 2 triangles. From here, then I'm going to start going to the bottom or the interior hole of the RounDuo Mini, because that's going to get me back in that starting space that I was in, just like I did with the regular RounDuos. Going down the 2 15s along the side that you had just put on, you're going to go in then and sew through the RounDuo. And then after you sew through the RounDuo, you're going to sew through the second hole of the RounDuo. So again, we're going basically from the outside hole to the interior. We're going to always be starting the triangle basically across from the tip of the triangle before it. Here in between, just like we did at the start, we're going to add a 15, 11, 15, followed by a RounDuo Mini, and then the same thing, 15, 11, and a 15, and another RounDuo Mini. After that, I want to go ahead and put on one more set, 15, 11, 15. And once I have those on, I'm going to go back through that same hole of the RounDuo Mini that my thread is coming out of. I was coming out of the top, now I'm going into the bottom of that mini. Pulling that nice and tight, just like we did in the previous one as well. I'm going to go back through the 15, the 11, the 15, and back through that first RounDuo Mini. Once you're coming out there, it's time to do your step up. So just like we did with the bigger, we're going to do the exact same thing. The only thing that's going to change for the count is going to be the count between the sides here. So at the top, I'm still going to do 2 of my 15s, 1 11, and 2 15-0 seed beads. From there, go back through that same RounDuo. Again, the thread is exiting towards the top, and I'm going into the bottom. When I'm coming out of that hole there, I'm going to add in 2 15s instead of 3 this time because I'm on the mini, and share that 11-0 seed bead. Sharing the 11-0, I'm just going to bring my thread out right after. Again, add 2 more of my 15s. It's a very simple pattern. And then I'm going to sew through, again, that top hole of the RounDuo Mini after it. Coming out there, again, we don't need to decorate because that one's already done, just like we did on the first one. Add 2 more 15s, sew through the 11 that sits, connecting the first hole of those RounDuo Minis. Coming out the 11 then, go ahead and add 2 more of your 15s. Sew through the exterior hole or the outer hole of that RounDuo Mini. When you're out that outer hole, add your 2 15s, 1 11, and 2 15s onto your needle. From there, sew back through that RounDuo Mini, starting again, threads coming out the top, we add our beads and we sew into the bottom. Finishing up this side then, I want you to add 2 of your 15s, sew through the 11-0 like we've been doing. And the nice thing, it's a really repetitive project. If you want to do a bigger bead, you can also do a bigger, like a round trio, to get kind of a 3-sized effect. Here I add 2 of my last 15s, and I sew through that same RounDuo that I started on. Just like we did with the bigger triangle, we're going to sew now through all of the seed beads, connecting this whole outer edge in the outer row. And then make sure that once we're done there, we're going to exit right there through that 11-0 seed bead so we can get ready to add our next triangle of our RounDuo. So I'm going to go through here, go through all of my 15s on the exterior, as well as through that 11-0 that I'm sharing. Going through then the exterior. And what this also does, the nice thing is it connects all of these lines basically and really gets that triangular shape. The other thing it does is connects back to the other triangle, so you have more than one thread going through that connection port. So I'm going back in here, whole way around, back through that 11. And if you have the long tail it drives you crazy, you can also kind of roll it around a piece of cardboard and tuck it up in if you don't want to catch on it. And I'm going back then, jumping right through to those seed beads along the exterior row, through the 11, and that's going to kind of act to close up those gaps. Back through here, making sure I'm closing the gaps along the side, and finishing them up. Now you might have to go 1.5 rotations through in order to close all of those gaps to get back here to the seed bead that we're coming out of. So I'm out the seed bead that I eventually want to come out of, but you can still see I have those gaps there in the RounDuo Minis. So I'm going to keep going around and bring my thread around 1.5 more times till I get back to the position where I'm coming out that 11-0 seed bead, and I can start again with my RounDuo bead. The same thing happens for the RounDuo, just like we did with the RounDuo Mini, where we stick on 1 and 2 15-0s, go through after coming through that, stick on 2 of your 15-0s, stick on your RounDuo, 2 more 15-0s, and then back through. I'm going to take my thread and needle the whole way back through here so I can go in and get back to this connector point, which is going to sit right on top of the last RounDuo Mini. They're always going to start as you go in and join them, and keep going and make it longer. Your triangle that you're working on is always going to sit on top of the previous triangle that you did. So then after coming out through this 11-0, after going back around and making your triangles sit nice and politely, right, with those seed beads next to one another, again, you're going to grab 2 of your 15-0s, switch now from the RounDuo Mini to the RounDuo, sew through 1 RounDuo, and then add 2 more 15-0s. Circle back around, so if your thread's coming out the top of that 11-0 seed bead, you're sewing into the bottom. And then step down from that top hole, going through the 15s along the side that you added, into that first hole that your thread is coming out of when it comes to those RounDuos, and then switch to working on the bottom hole. Once you're switched to working on the bottom hole, you are on repeat. So you're just going to keep going and keep going, building your triangles to get those nice directional arrows. Once you get to the end of your triangles, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of my larger RounDuo, and then obviously 6 of my smaller RounDuo Minis. And coming out the last of my 11-0 seed bead here, what I'm going to do is grab 2 of my 15-0s. Then I'm going to grab 1 of my RounDuo Minis, just like as if I was getting ready to start making this into another section here. And instead, what I'm going to do then is grab a collection of my 15-0 seed beads. You're going to want about 32 or so of the 15-0 seed beads. This is a great opportunity for you to clean up your bead mat. And what we're going to do then is bring this loop of seed beads after we have our 32 or so back into the second hole of the RounDuo Mini. And you want to just make sure whatever loop you are making or whatever clasp you're doing, this is where you add it. So if you do want to do a wire guard and a regular clasp garden or a metal clasp, this would be the place to do it as well. So you would do the same technique except add 1 15-0 seed bead and then your wire guard, and then come back down through the wire guard after adding your clasp. Once you have your seed beads on your thread and needle here to make your loop, you're going to go back down through the RounDuo again through that second hole and out. Give a nice tight pull. Add 2 more 15-0 seed beads. And then you're going to sew back into that 11-0 seed bead that you're sharing. So there you have your loop. I'm going to go back through now and reinforce this whole thing, sewing back through all of these seed beads, back down through the RounDuo Mini on the other side, and then tie off my thread somewhere down here along the project. I'm going to flip over now to the opposite end, which was my start bead. I've taken off my stop bead or my stop thread, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. However, on this side, what I'm going to get ready to do is add my button closure and my button clasp, making sure that that can fit into the loop that you've just created. So if you're adding a table cup button like I am, and I'm using again the Jade Picasso, I've added 3 15-0s after my 11-0 seed bead here. I'm going to go up through the button. Coming out then the top of the button, I'm going to add 2 15-0s, 1 of my 11-0 seed bead in that dark bronze matte, followed by 2 more 15-0s, and then come down through the other side of the button. Just like we did on the other side with the loop, you're going to add your 3 15s onto your needle, go back through that 15-0 there, and if you haven't taken off the stop bead yet, definitely you would have wanted to do that to get your needle on your thread. And then just like we did the other side with the loop, we're going to reinforce going up through the button, up through all of the beads at the button, down through the other side of the button and the other beads, and then again tie it off in your project. When you tie off the thread in the project, you're going to do just a sewer's knot, going and connecting to a thread and looping that's underneath there. So I'm going to sew back through here, and just like I'm going to do here on this side, to do that sewer's knot, you're going to do the same thing on the loop side. So I'm going back through here, and we've got 2 strands now going through our clasp. You can take it further down, or you can go right through the back of the clasp there, make a loop, sew through the loop, and give a nice tight knot. Go down further in your project, taking your needle and thread, back down through the beads a couple times, and then do the same thing to knot off the thread. Once you're done going back down through the project, just into the center of this loop here, your bracelet will be finished, and you have your loop on there and your nice directional bracelet. I love to see this in multicolors as well if you are going in and creating. You can always post in our group for Facebook, in Facebook for beading and jewelry making, the different colors that you've done your bracelet, any suggestions or tips that you might have, and if you decided to go with the round trio and make it bigger, exactly what your seed bead counts are for that as well. Hopefully you enjoyed the directional bracelet. It's great also to try this out with some new beads. And remember, if you need any supplies, supplies, check out the links below to shop with us online. If you haven't hit it yet, make sure you hit that little subscribe button in the corner so you get regular updates from us here at Potomac Beads. As always, thanks so much for watching, and enjoy your new directional bracelet.